Hello friends, welcome back to the Banker of Hippo YouTube channel. I'm Bryce and this is another episode of Women's Soccer World where we talk all about the glorious things going on in the world of women's soccer. We've got another great show for you today, but first I want to invite you to like, comment, subscribe, or check out any of these other great playlists to join in on the fun. I greatly appreciate it. For this week, not a whole lot doing. We're going to talk about the WSL Match Week 2 results, and we're also going to talk about a really interesting rule that I learned about in the NWSL and how it caused Angel City to get fined shortly after announcing the signing of Kristen Press. But stay tuned, we'll talk all about that very, very soon. And without further ado, let's get started. We'll get this episode kicked off by talking about the interesting rule that Angel City FC violated when announcing Kristen Press's signing. The NWSL announced that it had fined club Angel City FC for announcing the signing of Kristen Press a little too early. In a league statement, they said the following. The league said that the expansion club announced the signing prior to the full execution of the players' agreement, which violates Section 17.2.1 of the rulebook. The NWSL also said ACFC ignored a league directive regarding the announcement, and that comes from Yahoo Sports. So my initial reaction to this is, one, I'm a little late on this because this already happened last week after Kristen Press had signed, but I just thought this was a really intriguing rule, and it really revealed how nuanced some of these leagues can get. I didn't know that teams could be fined for doing something like that, but I have to say, the more I think about it, the more it makes sense for both the player and the team and the league for a few reasons. In terms of the team side, you don't want to jump the gun when you're having signings, right? Because the fact of the matter is it ruins the integrity of the league and of your own club overall. But let me explain. So in football, a lot of times there's a lot of transfer rumors going around. The carousel just goes up, down, and around. It usually is constant throughout the entirety of the year. Now, the only thing that separates these leagues and these clubs from those just rumors and that speculation is the idea of integrity, meaning that they uphold whatever they say is true and is actually happening. It's not speculation. If leagues allow teams to announce signings before they're inked in full, it ruins the image and the integrity of the league, because then how do we as fans know what any of the league or teams within the league are saying is true at all? So it kind of can get misconstrued quite quickly, and it can really hurt the league overall, because if your league doesn't really have integrity, it just doesn't help at all. And looking at it from a player's perspective, what if Angel City had announced that move, but Kristen Press had not fully approved that move yet? And if she hadn't fully approved that move yet, it might put undue pressure on her to get through that move, and it might be sort of intimidating because the club makes this big announcement. They've already got a shirt out for her, they've already got a jersey out for her, and she hasn't even signed or agreed to anything yet. And that can really freak out a player and mess with their head, or just mess with anybody's head, because that's their future. And if they don't agree to something like that and the club's already announcing it, that's not exactly a good thing that the club and the player are not on the same page. Not saying that that happened in this case, because in this case it seemed inevitable that it was going to be done, dusted, and a deal signed. But what if it was the inverse? What if Kristen Press did not want to go to Angel City, and Angel City is off saying that, yeah, we've signed her. That's not, it's not good, and it can probably actually lead to a lawsuit on the club and on the league in general, I would imagine. So I just thought it was a really interesting story to kind of talk about overall. Like I said, it was a really minuscule rule, 17.2.1. I don't know how much Angel City was fined. In fact, the NWSL didn't disclose it in their statement, and they haven't since then. My guess would be maybe in the tens of thousands. I can't imagine it being any higher than that, because the league is still in its early goings, and it can't afford to fine teams $250,000 or something crazy like that. I mean, I suppose if the rule violations were extreme enough, they probably could, but you get the idea. So, my friends, what do you make of this interesting rule? Are there any other crazy rules in sports that you've seen and just have blown you away? Whatever you think, you know where the comment section is. Let me know. Next up, the FAWSL Match Week 2 commenced and has come and gone. What do we make all the results, and what were the results? Let's dive in. Aston Villa and West Ham ended in a 1-1 draw on Friday, but it was a really exciting match, and I'm surprised the game wasn't higher scoring. Plenty of chances from both sides, pretty even possession. I think West Ham had the more quality chances, and I'm willing to bet that they'll be gutted they didn't come away with a win. The very first goal of the game came in the 8th minute from Adriana Leon. Lisa Evans took advantage of a mistake from Aston Villa on the right wing, passed it over to Leon, and she scored. And then fast forward all the way into the 92nd minute when Remy Allen gets a ball from the right wing and heads it home in order to get the equalizer. Aston Villa rescue a point for this week. And like I said, this was probably one of the most exciting games of the weekend. There were a ton of chances. The game was really, really close. And I was thoroughly entertained. It was a good time for all. My most anticipated match of the second match week was Chelsea and Everton, and this one ended in a lopsided scoring. Chelsea won by a scoreline of 4 to Everton's 0. Goals came from Fran Kirby to start off the scoring. Then Sam Kerr added to that with a brace, her first goals of the season. And then to cap off the scoring, Beth England ended up coming in for them in the 79th minute, and that was all the scoring for that game. Very one-sided for Chelsea. Chelsea continuing to show their dominance this season that they had last season, so I'm not really too surprised that they came away with the win here. I was hoping Everton would put up more of a fight, and on paper, this game looked to be a lot closer than I think the scoreline shows. Possession was pretty even. Chelsea had 57% possession, while Everton had 43% possession. And the number of shots on goal was only 6 from Chelsea to 2 to Everton. However, Chelsea were the more threatening team since they had 27 shots total. So when you have that many opportunities, you're more than likely going to score more goals. So again, Chelsea kind of flexing their muscles in terms of their attacking power. And I expect for that to continue for them all season long. So Chelsea, for me, are still the favorite to win the title by the time the season ends. Manchester United came with an away win against Leicester City at King Power Stadium at the weekend. 3 goals for Manchester United to Leicester City's 1. Manchester United had a great day overall, tallying up 33 shots, 10 of which were on goal, and 66 possession, give or take. Of course, there's tenths of percentages that go into that. However, the game's scoring started off with Elatoon with a wonder strike from about 20-something yards out, and it was a beauty of a goal. Then, fast forward to the second half, Maria Thorisdottir ended up adding to that tally, but not so fast. Leicester City ended up scoring a goal from Abby McManus in the 61st minute, and then Martha Thomas finished off the scoring in the 71st minute with another goal, and that's all that was written for that game. I think Manchester United are going to be happy coming away with another win this week, second one in a row, and a second one for their new manager, Mark Skinner, which is fantastic. And of course, I am a Manchester United fan, which makes me happy that they drew away with this result. However, I think they'll be gutted that they didn't come away with a couple more goals. They had quite a few chances that were either goal line saves or they had an open net and they just ended up botching it to the stands. Martha Thomas had one of those at the later half of the game, and I believe also Kirsty Hansen had one that was knocked off the line down the stretch. So I think this game could have easily been 5-1, 6-1, and in a league where goal difference makes a big deal, I think that will make a difference down the stretch, but only time will tell. Something I noticed about Manchester United in this game, this is just general observation, Elatoon has continued to just be phenomenal week in and week out, and I'm really looking forward to seeing that continue for the rest of the season. And in addition, Anna Batche has been excellent in the left back position. She's been getting involved, providing excellent service, and even scoring and assisting in some cases, so she has been on fire. And last but not least, I'm really excited that they have come away with another away win, because these away wins are very important, especially at these really big, cool stadiums. It's always a ton of fun when there's always a lot of eyes watching on these games. So United with another strong result today, and I'm excited to see what they do next week. I don't know what Brighton drank when they woke up this morning, but they had a thirst to conquer. Brighton ended up besting Birmingham City by a scoreline of 5-0 today. Brighton always comes in with these really surprise results, as they did last season. But who all scored for Brighton? We had Victoria Williams in the 2nd minute, Anissa Kegman in the 46th minute with the penalty, Danielle Carter in the 50th minute, Emma Koivisto with another goal in the 58th minute, and then Kaylee Green in the 70th minute to round off the scoring. And again, this is another one of those games where the number of shots overall was pretty even. Brighton and Hove Albion had 13 to Birmingham City's 14 shots, but in terms of shots on target, Brighton Hove Albion had 8 to Birmingham City's 4. And I'm assuming the fact that it's because of the fact that Brighton had the more quality chances in this game, and they truly made the most of them. And again, Brighton, like last season when they bested Chelsea, another really surprise result after they lost to the worst team in the league for that season, which was, oh, why are they escaping me right now? It's a shame I can't remember. Bristol City. Bristol City. So I'm expecting Brighton to have a few more shock results, whether or not it's a win or a loss. But this is one of those where I didn't expect them to come in and just utterly dominate. So it actually gives me a ton of hope and excitement for them going down the stretch for the season. The one statistic in here that really sticks out to me is they had 13 fouls and 67% possession. So they were in control of this game. They were very aggressive and clearly paid dividends for them. So good on them for getting 5 goals. They'll surely help the goal difference, especially with the clean sheet that they kept today. So good on them for that. Arsenal and Reading. Arsenal continued the really strong start of the season with another win this week. They won by a scoreline of 4 to Reading's 0. And again, showing off the amount of attacking talent that they have this week and keeping a clean sheet at the same time is no easy feat. So I'm really curious to see how Arsenal is going to do continuing down the stretch, especially after their monumental win against Chelsea in the first week of match play. Who all scored for Arsenal this week, though? To start off the scoring, Jen Beattie scored in the 17th minute. And then after that, Vivian Miedema gets the brace and Beth Mead gets on the score sheet again for this week. So Arsenal, again, flexing their muscles a little bit, much like Chelsea, and just scoring a ton of goals and just beating the teams that they should beat, which is really, really interesting. And I was having this thought this morning after watching some of these games that I'm curious to see how the relegation battle for the season is going to go. I have a feeling it's going to be very unpredictable. Last season, it was that way to an extent. This season, I'm curious to see how Reading and Birmingham City are going to do, because last season, Birmingham City didn't finish too strong, and I'm wondering if that's going to carry over into the season and if they'll get in danger of being relegated. But it is a long season, and we're only in the second week, so I guess we'll have to wait and see and find out. Other notable headlines this week, Tobin Heath wasn't in the roster again this week. I'm guessing it'll probably be another week or two before she's in there. But however, Arsenal are doing just fine, no problem, and they're scoring a ton of goals. Vivian Miedema, I think, is going to go after that golden boot this season, and I'm willing to bet that she will win it. I picked her to win it last season, but Sam Kerr ended up just going on the warpath and winning it, and rightfully so, because she had a wonderful season. So good on Arsenal. They come away with another big win today, when it came with 17 shots and 5 on target and 63% possession and an 82% pass accuracy. So across the board, they just did pretty phenomenal overall. So good on them for that. So the last and the wildest game of the weekend was Tottenham and Manchester City. Tottenham ended up coming up with a shocking result, winning by scoreline of 2-1, which would give City their first home defeat in their 33 matches at home over the last however many seasons that spans. So really big match overall. What was the final score? Tottenham 2, Manchester City 1. Rachel Williams ended up scoring for Tottenham in the second half in the 61st minute. Then an own goal ensued later on down the stretch in the 86th minute from Karima Benamur. And then earlier on, Manchester City was the team who struck first very early. It was Lauren Hemp in the 6th minute. And on paper, it looked like City had really dominated this game. They had a majority of the possession. It was quite a bit. It was 66%, a lot more shots, 18 to Tottenham's 6, and 6 shots on target to Tottenham's 2. And it's just one of those results where I just don't think City had a really great week this week. They were knocked out of the Champions League from my understanding, and what a big bummer for them, especially for them to start off the season with 2 straight losses. And I still think that they will compete for the title. It's still really early on in the season. If you guys recall last season, City didn't start off very well in the first month or so, but ended up finishing second, only a point behind champions Chelsea. So really big result for Tottenham, winning their first 2 games of the season, and then on the opposite side of that, Manchester City losing their first 2. So it's a long season, a long ways to go, but I'm curious to see how City are going to rebound and come back. I'm going to guess they're going to have some wrath for the remainder of the season, but only time will tell. My friends, that'll do it for this episode of Women's Soccer World. Thanks so much for stopping by. Like, comment, subscribe, or check out any of these other great playlists to join in on the fun. Once again, this has been the Bankrupt Hippo YouTube channel. I've been Bryce, and until next time, have a great day.